So before we started recording, I actually did something. I went to the Rolex website and I was honestly really surprised with what I saw there. There was no call to action, there was no pricing. It showed the US Open. And I really wanted to know what you think because are those really the best practices for a website?
No, by every conventional use web design, that website should not work. There's no explanation of what they say, what the urgency is. There's no lead capture. There's no nothing that a marketing person would tell you to do. And yet, Rolex is one of the most valuable brands in the planet, worth over $10 billion.
Wow.
So,
So what's that contradiction hiding?
well, the contradiction is hiding the real lesson, and that's what I want to get into today. Because I think a lot of small businesses are looking at brands like Rolex and learning the wrong thing entirely.
Okay, let's start there. Why does it work for them?
Well, because Rolex doesn't need to explain itself. When you land on that website, you already know what Rolex is, what they sell. They spent over 100 years building that. Every association they've made, Wimbledon, the US Open, deep sea exploration, world leaders. All of that is already living in your head before you even type in the Rolex URL.
So a website is almost like the last step.
That's right, exactly. The website is the output of all that brand equity, not the engine of it. It's a trophy case, essentially. It's not where the selling happens. The selling happened decades ago through consistency, through aspiration, through scarcity. By the time someone is on the Rolex website, they already decided they want to buy the Rolex or they just want to look at it.
Right.
They don't need to get convinced about it.
That's a really different way of looking at a website.
That's right. Most businesses think that a website is where you convince people. For Rolex, the convincing is already done. That's a position they've earned. It wasn't given to them. They don't need to explain who they are already.
So, what happens when a small business designs a website like that?
Well, they see minimal and premium, and they think that's the formula. So they strip out all the context from their own website. They take away the explanation of what they do. They make everything look clean and sparse, and they think that silence signal luxury.
And it doesn't?
Well, silence only works when you've already famous. If someone lands on your website cold, and for most small businesses, that's most of their traffic, you have about 5 seconds before they leave. 5 seconds. In that window, they need to know what you do, who you do it for, and why they should care. If your homepage is a beautiful photo and your logo, they're gone.
So, what's the assumption there?
Well, the dangerous assumption is if I look expensive, people will assume I'm worth it. And look, aesthetics matter. I'm not saying have an ugly website, but aesthetics without clarity is just confusion with good lighting. You can't be mysterious when nobody knows your name yet. You have to earn the right to be minimal. Rolex earned it. You haven't yet.
So, if the website isn't the lesson, what should a small business actually learn from Rolex?
Well, it's four things, and none of them are about design. Number one, position yourself on meaning, not price. Rolex has never competed on value. They don't run sales. They don't do best price guaranteed. They compete on what owning a Rolex means. Now think about a local small business. Most of them compete on price because they don't know how else to differentiate. But the ones with that win long term aren't the cheapest. They're the ones people call because they want it done right, because they trust them. That's positioning, and you build it intentionally, or you end up in a race to the bottom of the price.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what's the second one?
This is a big one for small businesses. Rolex's entire brand ultimately comes down to one thing: the watch is exceptional. The movement, the materials, the craftsmanship, everything else is built on top of that foundation. For a small business, the service itself is your product. The quality of your work, how your crew shows up, whether you leave a job site cleaner than you found it, whether you notice something that clients didn't even ask about and fix it anyway. That's your watch movement. That's what actually builds a reputation. You can have the best branding in the world, but if the work is inconsistent, none of it matters.
Hmm. It's interesting because I think a lot of businesses almost skip that completely and go straight to marketing.
All the time. And I get it. Marketing feels like the lever you can pull, but marketing a mediocre service just means more people find out about it faster. The business that compounds over time are the ones where the work itself is a primary marketing because people talk.
That's so interesting. What about number 3?
3, consistency. Every single Rolex touchpoint, the website, the store, the packaging, the way a retailer is trained to speak about the product, it all feels the same. There's a coherence to it. Most small businesses are wildly inconsistent. The work might be great, but the communication is slow. Or the crew looks professional, but the invoice looks like it was made 20 years ago. Or the Instagram is active, but nobody answers the phone. Every inconsistency is a tiny leak in your brand, and they add up. Clients notice. Maybe they don't say it out loud, but they feel it, and it affects whether they call you back or refer you.
So it's not just about the work, it's a touch point.
Yeah, every touch point. The way you answer the phone, the way you send the quote, the follow up after the job is done, all of it is your brand. Rolex understands that completely. Most small businesses only think about it when it comes to their logo.
And the 4th one?
4, make the client feel like they're entering something rare. Rolex doesn't just sell you a watch, they sell you a membership in something. There's a waiting list for certain models. There's a whole ritual around buying one, so it feels significant. Small businesses can take and create that same feeling at a much smaller scale. A clean professional intake process, a confirmation message that doesn't read like a robot sent it, follow-up call or text after the job asking if everything looked good. That's the kind of thing that turns a transaction or one-off service into a relationship. And that's what Rolex has built at scale, relationships. People don't just own a Rolex, they're loyal to the brand for life.
Excellent. So, how does someone who's watching this start applying that to their own business? If I'm running, let's say, a landscaping business or a cleaning company, what does the Rolex mindset look like for someone like me on a Monday morning?
First thing, stop obsessing over your website. And I say that knowing we just spent the last few minutes talking about Rolex's website. But here's the irony. The lesson from Rolex isn't fix your website. It's almost the opposite. I see small businesses owners spending weeks agonizing over the font on their contact page, or whether their gallery section flows right on mobile, or what color the button should be 3 scrolls down. None of that matters if you're above the fold. The first thing people actually see, doesn't clearly say what you do, where you do it, and why you're the call to make. You get that right, then leave it alone. The rest of your energy belongs in the actual business.
So, the website does have a role, but it's a limited one.
For a small business, your website's only job is to not lose you a customer who was already interested. That's it. It's not going to build your brand. Your work builds your brand. Your reputation builds your brand. The website just needs to confirm what people have already heard about you. So yes, yeah, make sure it's clear above the fold. Yes, have a phone number people can find in 2 seconds. But beyond that, every hour you spend tweaking it is an hour you're not spending on the thing that actually moved the needle.
And what are those things?
What we just talked about, the quality of the work itself, the consistency of every touch point, how your crew shows up, how you communicate, how you follow up after the job. Those are the things that turn a one-time customer into a referral machine. Sending a better follow-up email costs nothing. Showing up in a clean truck costs almost nothing. Training your crew to introduce themselves by name costs nothing. But these things compound, right? They build a reputation that lets you charge more, get more referrals, and stop competing on price. That's the real Rolex lesson, not the minimal website, the obsession with every detail of the experience.
Excellent. So, if someone's watching today, what is the one thing that they can take away from this video?
I'd say audit your last 3 client touch points, the quote, the job, the follow-up. For each one ask, does this feel like a premium service? Does it feel consistent? Does it feel like someone who cares did this? The gap between where most businesses are and where they want to be isn't in talent, it's attention. Rolex pays attention to every detail of the experience. That's not a budget thing, it's a decision. And you can make that decision today.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.